Okay, we go to item 4A, APP 2200439, Southands College, College Road, Purbrook, Waterlooville. Councillor Hulls has contacted the Planning Department to raise questions about the integrity of the data and documents relating to the application that are available on the Council's website following the migration to the new Arcus IT system. In light of his concerns, he has requested that the consideration of this application be deferred until further assurances can be given regarding this data. Officers are content that the data for this application is all available online and has been summarised in the officer's report, and therefore their advice is that the committee can and should proceed as planned to consider this application at tonight's meeting. However, members may wish to consider Councillor Hull's proposal to defer the item, and in order to avoid wasted time in proceeding further with the presentation, members are invited to consider this proposal at this stage, and if members are minded to defer the item, a councillor may propose a motion for this purpose, and if this motion is seconded, if this motion is seconded, vote on it. Councillor Hulls, would you like to speak?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. There's been quite a lot of backwards and forwards from when the papers were first issued on the 21st of October. There were only 33 documents on the planning portal, and those have been added since then. On the 24th of October, I think it was, Mr. Weaver informed myself in an email that they were all uploaded. But when I looked at those documents on the 24th, there weren't any comments, public comments, and over 50% of the titles didn't match the documents which were there. And you have to download on the system, you have to download each document individually. You can't just look at them anymore. I think that I got an email on the 30th to say that all the titles had been changed back, but there's still no comments. Today I've been informed that the comments are there, but they're not in the comments section, they're in the file section, and you have to search. If you search for comments, it only shows there's 2 comments, but actually there's 20 comments, but you have to go through 21 pages of documents to find those specific comments, which are objections or neutral comments. And my big worry is, my big concern is that, are we sure, are the officers absolutely sure that the data and the documents and all the comments are uploaded correctly into the new system? Because there seems to be a haphazard way of it's been done, so that we've not had all the documentation from when the papers were published. It's been drip-fed through to us. And my worry is it all there now? And I haven't had a concrete answer from the officers to say it is. At 4 o'clock today, I had one from the acting head of planning saying, I forget what it said, that it suggested that hopefully everything was there, but that didn't sound very strong to me. So my big worry is, at a later date, if more information comes to light, would any determination we make still be valid, or would it be open to challenge? And that's where I came from, saying that maybe we should just let the officers have some time to absolutely make sure that all the information is valid and correct. I don't know what anyone else thinks.
Thank you, Councillor Hulls. Would any other members like to make a comment at all, please? Councillor Milne.
I know when I first read your bits and pieces, I was thinking, oh, you know, because I do trust, but I have to admit, listening to you now, and I think where it is such a vast development and where it is, and I do share your concerns, especially with what you're saying now. So yeah, I do get you.
Would the officers like to comment on this, please?
Yes, thank you, Chairman. Yes, members, Councillor Hulls has made reference to the email that was issued by the Head of Planning earlier this afternoon. I just want to check that all members have received and read that email. So yeah, the points that are raised in it are that certainly with regard to part 2 of the planning register, so those are decided applications. Obviously what we're considering tonight is an application that hasn't been decided, but with decided applications, we're still resolving the question of getting redacted documents online. That's underway, and that should be resolved in the next few weeks. That doesn't affect your deliberations this evening of this current application. With regard to current applications, as the note sets out, over 650,000 documents had to be transferred as part of the Arcus project. A total of 200 out of that 650,000 failed to load. Those have been checked. None of them relate to this case. So as officers, we are content that the case file that is available for public scrutiny is full and does contain all the relevant information. And in particular, the concerns raised about objections, they are all online. The case officer, Arleta Mijewska, actually started drafting her report before the document transfer happened. And so effectively we've been able to corroborate the number of objections that were in the original draft of the report against what is online, and they do corroborate 18 objections and 2 neutral comments. So we're entirely content that you have all the information available to you, and members of the public do. In terms of Councillor Hulls, is obviously he and I have had a dialogue. Last Friday evening, I advised all members of the committee that the incorrect titling, which is a problem on some cases, had been resolved. I advised you all of that, and I advised you that the public comments were available, and they were. They're not under the comments tab, they're in the documents tab, but they were. It was only earlier today that I received Councillor Hulls' question about, I can't find the public comments, and I was able to clarify to all members of committee that, how you find them, they're there as individual documents. So they have been published, we have met our statutory duty, and as officers we feel that it is reasonable for you to proceed to determine this application this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Weaver. In light of the information provided, would any member like to make a proposal, please? Councillor Hulls.
Sorry. Yeah, I propose that we defer it until the system's properly audited and we know that everything is absolutely as it should be, which it currently isn't.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor Robert, you're seconded. Do you want to speak at all, Councillor Robert?
I can appreciate what's been said about the fact that it's all up to date now, but in the time zone that we've had to look at everything, it's only sort of up to date for sure now, and it's not always easy to go and find that information. And certainly when I've read through the documentation that we did receive, it is difficult to quickly identify some of the comments, or even if they're all there, and the uncertainty in your mind is whether they were or they weren't. So I think, although the question is, have we read the documentation before coming to this meeting? The answer is yes, but there's an uncertainty in your mind as to whether actually you have read everything that can be there in the time. So I think it's that uncertainty that I think is worth drawing attention to. Thank you.
Right, we have a proposal and a seconder. Would you like to read out what we're actually voting on, please?
Certainly, Chair, thank you. You'll be voting on whether you would like to defer this application on the basis that you're unsure whether you have seen all the information.
Those in favour of deferring, please show. Those against? Any abstentions? One abstention. Is that 4-3, was it? That is, the motion falls. 4-3. Thank you. So we'll proceed with tonight's proposal.